Yes,
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 yes.
Kushal.
See, the concept of security context constraints. Okay, what exactly the SCC is, let me tell you. See, whenever you launch any deployment inside a namespace, okay, let's say you have created a deployment. Now, by default, this deployment is always comes with a pre-configured service account. Service account is the account which actually creates the pod or the things inside the namespace. Clear? Now, like the way we create files with user, okay, service account also creates the pods. Now, by default, the deployment has a service account as default. And with this service account, generally a SCC is attached. Okay. And what is SCC? SCC is security context constraint. Okay. Generally, with the default service account, a restricted SCC is attached. And what does it mean? If a restricted SCC is attached to a default service account, and if the deployment is using a default service account to create pods, then all the pods will run with the non-root user. Okay. All the containers inside the pod will be running as a random UID. Okay. Now, these pods cannot directly access your host machine's data. Okay. You cannot directly map a volume from the host machine to these pods. Why? Because generally the deployment, whenever you create a deployment, it always has a service account as default, and the service account default has been attached with the restricted SCC. According to the restricted SCC, your pod will be running as a random UID. Your pod cannot access the resources on the host machine. So restrictions are there. Now let's say you want to deploy a Nginx application. Now, as you know, to deploy an Nginx application, container must be running as root. Okay. So at that time, what you need to do, you need to change this service account from default to a new service account. Let's say Manish. So you need to create one service account. Number one, create a service account as Manish. Number two, attach a SCC to Manish service account. Okay. What you will attach? Attach any UID SCC to Manish service account. Okay. And any UID means the containers can run with root privileges. Okay. Number five, attach that service account to the deployment. So these are the 5 steps. Clear? So first you need to create a service account. After that, you need to attach a SCC to the service account. After that, obvious, you will attach some SCC like any UID, host access you have, restricted you have. Okay. So if the any UID SCC is attached to a service account, then the deployment can run the pods with the root user. Okay. So a lot of SCCs are there.
Kushal,
Any UID is there.
Kushal,
Say
Kushal,
yes.
it's same like sudo access.
Yeah, you
Sudo.
can say any UID is same like sudo access. Okay.
Okay.
So SCC actually is designed in a way that it gives you the policies. What pod can access? Okay. Can my pod access host machine? Can my pod run the containers with root user? Can my pod access my persistent volumes? So all the SCCs are given. Almost 7 to 8 SCCs are there. Okay.
Okay.
Now, so security SCC limits the access from a running pod in OpenShift to the host environment. SCC control running privileged containers, request extra capabilities to containers using host directories as volume. Okay. By default, if you are creating a normal deployment, then by default, the service account is always default. And default service account is attached with the restricted SCC. And according to the restricted SCC, if the deployment is creating the pods, then pod cannot access your host volume. Pod cannot run the containers with root user. They will always be running with the random user. But if you want to run them with the root user, then you can create a service account. You can attach any UID SCC to the service account, and you can set that service account inside the deployment. After that, deployment will create the pods which will be running with the root user.
Kaushal, I have a couple of questions. Kaushal.
Say.
First, what is service account? I'm not recall that part.
It's the account which creates the pod. Or okay.
Shall we? So by default, is it while creating a deployment file, it's automatically created, right? Is it?
Yeah, default service account is always present.
Okay. So okay. So this will help us to create other containers, right? With the service account, right? Default.
If you are running a deployment and if that deployment is having a default service account, and if the default service account is having the restricted SCC is a permission for the service account, Manish. Okay.
Now let's take example. I have created one deployment with the one as a desired, right? One as a replica, correct?
Yes.
So later on, I will need to change to 4, right?
Yes.
So that 3 container will need a service account default. Use the service account default, correct?
Yes.
Okay. But so you are saying that while creating first time deployment file, we are attaching some SCC file to that user account, right?
Yes. Yes.
So it's my choice that I need to create manually some SCC file, different file, or by default
No. By default, only 7 to 8 SCCs are there. You cannot design your SCC.
Okay, so there is only specific list of SCC. You have to choose it and map to the service account.
Yes.
Okay. So what is first thing is, what is the use case of this security SCC?
See, if with the Manish service account, let's say you have attached any UID, you have attached host access. Okay. Let's say you have attached these 2 services or these 2 SCCs to this service account. Clear, Manish? Till here you are clear? We have attached 2 SCCs to the Manish. Clear?
No, just hold on. So okay. So Manish is a service account, and you have attached these 2 SCC, NUID and host
to
access.
the Manish service account.
Okay.
Now I will set the service account to Manish in the deployment. Okay.
Correct.
Clear? Now if deployment is creating the pod, then one thing that the pod can run containers with root user or with any user. Okay, because we have attached the NUID. Clear?
So you are describing the functionality of the NUID. What is that means?
Yes.
The NUID mean you can run the container with any user. Right?
Yes.
Okay. So you are just mapping the exact required policy to that deployment file. Is it? We can say like that.
Yes. I'm attaching the service SCC with the service account, and I'm attaching the service account to the deployment.
Understand? So okay. So that will.
So 2 functionality you will get by this.
So my next question is, what exactly the use case we are trying to attach this SCC file to the service account? Can you some use case?
Let's say, Manish, you want to run an Nginx pod. Okay.
Okay.
Now Nginx required or Nginx container must be running with root user. Right? You cannot run an Nginx container with a random user. And by default, OpenShift always runs the container with random user. Okay, now if you want to change this, how will you change this?
OpenShift always runs the container with random user.
Okay. Yes, the containers are never run with the root user in OpenShift.
Okay.
They will always be running with a random UID. Okay.
Can we have example for the random user like Apache or MySQL?
Random UID will be something like this: 100235446, like this. Okay. Any random UID. Okay. By default, your container do not run as a root user. Clear?
Okay,
It will
UID
always
is
be
mapped
running
with
with a random user. Clear?
but this UID is mapped with some of the user like MySQL or
No. See, in the system.
This random user is a part of OpenShift cluster, correct?
Yes, random user is a part of OpenShift cluster. Okay, these all the random user are created, and OpenShift
Just
runs the
like a,
container with the random user. It never runs the container with the root user, because if you are running a container with the root user, then if someone has a login to your container, then he can see all the data.
no, Kaushal. So let's take a my one project is there, right? As a one, I have one project. So we have multiple user, right? One as a admin user and two is a viewer user. So viewer user cannot create the container, right? As a policy. So only
yes.
root user have run the deployment file, right? Deployment.
Yes.
So okay. So in the coding, how the OpenShift is built like that. Whenever we run the deployment file or deploying the container in that project, they will randomly use the user ID for in this project, right? Something like
Yes,
that.
they will use the random UID for the containers to run.
Okay.
Means when
Okay.
you will be going inside the container and when you will be running ID command, you will see the random UID.
Okay, so if you are saying that if some of just like example of Nginx is required only root user, right?
Yes.
Root UID, basically any UID. Okay, so we have to map that SSC to that particular deployment file,
To the
correct?
service account. Map the SCC to service account and map the service account to deployment.
Understand.
Clear?
Okay, let's continue. Fine.
Okay. So any user means pod can run containers with any user, and host access SCC you have attached to the service account means here all the pods can attach a host volume. Okay. Now, OC get SCC command you can use to see list out all the SCCs like any UID, host access, host mount, host network. By default, your pod cannot access your host network. Okay. Node exporter, non-root, privileged, restricted. These all the SCCs are available over here. Almost 7 SCCs.
These are the only 8 SSCs we can use only. So no
Yes,
apart
seven,
from that,
seven.
we cannot customize or we cannot create ourselves SSA, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Now after that you can describe the SCCs. Clear? OC describe SCC any UID. Okay. Now you can describe the pod to get the SCC. OC describe pod. I am describing this pod. It is present inside this project and I'm grabbing the output SCC. So see, this pod is running with the restricted SCC, means it must be running the containers with the non-root user, and all the containers and the pod cannot access the host network and the host volumes because the SCC is what? Restricted. Okay. Now, for the NUID SCC, okay, what you need to do, you need to create a service account. OC create service account. What is the name of the service account? You can give over here. After that, you need to attach a SCC to the service account. So OC ADM policy, add SCC to user. What SCC you want to attach and to which service account you want to attach. So this SCC means any UID, restricted, privileged, host network. These SCC will be attached to the service account. And after that, this is also one command.
In SSC and SSC, all these whatever eight list are here, then it automatically pass into that SSC. This is the default one in name, or we
No.
something?
You need to write the SCC name over here.
Okay,
This
SSC
command will be running like this.
means
OC ADM
privilege,
policy add
whatever that is.
SCC to user.
Okay.
After that, any UID -z service account. Clear? So I'm attaching this NEUID SCC to this service account. Service account
So
name is Manish.
So we need to attach three SSC. Then we need to run 3 commands.
3 commands. Yes. Okay. I have never tried comma, but you can try with comma. Okay.
Okay.
Privileged containers. So some containers might need to access the runtime environment of the host. So for example, the S2I builder containers are a class of privileged containers that require access beyond the limits of the own containers. Means some containers are there which runs the applications like they need to directly communicate with the host machine kernel. So these type of containers are called the privileged containers actually. But these containers can cause security risk because they can use any resources on an OpenShift node actually. Okay. So SCC can be used to enable access for privileged containers by creating service accounts with privileged access. So you have the SCC for the privileged access also. Clear? Once you have attached this SCC to a user, or once you have set that service account to a deployment, then whatever pods you are running with this SCC, they can use anything on your host machine. So that will pose the security risk actually. Okay.
So you are trying to say that privilege should be not be assigned to any deployment file.
Not.
Right?
Generally, we do not assign privileged. Okay.
As a security perspective, we can say that as a security, we cannot assign anything on the particular privilege.
Yes.
Okay.
Because otherwise, if someone has a login to your container, then he can do anything on the worker node. Okay. Because pod will be, or the container will be having the complete access on the host machine. Okay. Now controlling application permission. Now see, we are logging with the developer user. We are going inside a project, new project authorization SCC. See, I'm deploying an application, OC new app. Name of the application should be GitLab. Docker image, I want to use this. Clear? Now deployment created, service created, success. OC get pod, it is giving me error. Now in the exam also you have a question on this. Okay, there will be an application which is already deployed, and in that you will see the error. Okay, and see when you are seeing the logs of the pod. Okay, what you are seeing? Insufficient permission. Clear? Means the application or the container which is running with the random user ID, the random user is not able to access these files. So it is giving me the insufficient permission. Now what I'm doing, I'm creating a service account, OC create SA GitLab SA. I'm logging with the admin user because if I want to attach a SCC to a service account, I need to log in with the admin user. Okay. So service account I have created and OC login admin and OC ADM policy add SCC to user NEUID -z GitLab SA. So I have attached this particular service account SCC as NEUID. And now I will be logging with the developer user and I am be setting the service account. So OC set service account in the deployment. What service account you want to set? GitLab -sa. That's it. So this is the name of the deployment. This is the service account you want to set.
While creating the deployment, by default, what service count is attached?
Default.
Is the default. So what SC is contained by the default
restricted.
Okay, restricted. Okay, got it.
Now OC set service account deployment GitLab SA. Now see your pod is running, and now you can expose the pod. You can
so in the upper example, it's showing the error and it is restricted by default, right? So we have created a new one and just map to that particular deployment and it's
pod is running. We have changed the service account to the deployment, and we are attaching this service account, and we have attached the NEUID SCC to this service account.
Got it.
Now you can curl the application. It is giving you the reply. Delete the project. Lab authorization finish. And one final lab is given to you. OC login, see OC ADM policy, remove cluster role from group, self provisioner. We are removing this role. Okay. OCADM groups, I am adding two groups. One is WPMGRS. This is the same lab, okay? This is the combined lab of all the chapters, means all the sections inside fourth chapter. OCADM policy, I am adding a cluster role to group self provisioner. Okay, so the members of these groups will be able to create projects. OCADM groups add users, ladder. Now I'm logging with ladder, I'm creating a project, and I am logging with the admin user. I'm adding a new group WP devs. Inside the WP devs, I'm adding some users like developer, and I'm editing or giving a role to this particular group as edit. Okay. Now OCADM groups new WPA QA group. Again, I'm adding some users in this group. Again, I'm giving the view role. So three groups I have created, three users I have added, and three different permissions I have given. Now I'm creating a service account as WordPress SA.
Kaushal, I missed that class, not because there's a network issue that time. So I gone through the recording. So in previous in class we have creating a two group, right? In the last Monday class, right?
Yes.
So the purpose of use case of group is that to differentiate the basis on the you can say that
in the Linux, what group is what group do actually?
Like we have to segregate it on the basis of the what of the type of rights we want to give. Like root group, we create a one group with the name of root, and all the root users should put it in that group. Is it the use case we are trying to achieve from that configuration?
Yes, same. Okay.
Okay. So
if
just
to attach a role to multiple users at the same time, then we can add these users inside a group and we can attach the role to the group.
Okay.
Okay. Now, OCADM policy. Now you see you are attaching a any UID SCC to this WordPress SA. Now you are logging with the developer user and you are trying to create a secret. Okay. Generic, I am creating over here review secret from literal user password database, and now I'm deploying an application named as MySQL, and for that I'm using a Docker image registry.access.reddit.com. This is the repository name, this is the image name, and this is the tag. Okay. Now OC sat.
One point. What is that from literal? Normally we are giving the from file. What is that? Why? What is that
From
meaning of
literal
that
means
command?
key value pairs you can give. Okay.
Okay.
From literal first key value pair. From literal second key value pair. So these key value pairs will be stored inside the secret. Okay.
Okay.
Now applications we have deployed. Now I am setting up the environment variable over here in the deployment. Okay. And two, from which I want to set the environment variable from the secret. And now it is deploying a WordPress application also. OC new app, name, WordPress, Docker image, this, and I am passing the environment variables directly on the command line. Clear? Now, OC set service account, deployment, WordPress SA we have set up, and we are setting up the environment variables, okay, inside it from a secret. And now I can logging with a QA user. I can see the status, application is running. WordPress is also running, MySQL is also running, and I can delete all the app. Okay. Now I cannot delete this because the QA user which I have logged in with, it is not having the permission to delete the resources. Okay.
Yes, it says view permission.
Yeah, it is having the view permission. Now lab authorization, great, and finish. That's it.
I think this WordPress question is important, right?
Yeah, in exam it does not come.
No. In 3.9, in 3.9 paper is coming. That's why.
Yeah, but we are going to give paper on 4.0. 3.9 was the past of OpenShift.
Okay.
Configuring OpenShift networking components. Okay, we'll take this later. You
Right.
can
We'll
do
this later,
the
yeah.
labs till fourth chapter. After that, we will continue.
Correct. I will try to finish up to 4th chapter. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
Okay, guys, do it by today. Okay.
Yes.
Ashish, do it, no? Fourth chapter.
Yes. Yes.
Nagi, labs will be activated in 12, I think 12 hours. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, guys, that's it for
Bye.
today.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye, teacher.